You've been doing everything right. Waking up early, putting in the work, trying harder than almost everyone around you. And yet, it still feels like something is missing. Like, no matter how hard you push, the relationship, the success, the peace of mind, it keeps slipping further away. Here's what nobody tells you. That's not a motivation problem. That's not a discipline problem. That is a forcing problem. And the moment you understand what I'm about to show you, everything changes. Stay with me, because the next few minutes might be the most important thing you watch this year. The ancient Stoics figured something out centuries ago that modern psychology is only just beginning to confirm. That the harder you chase something, success, love, happiness, the faster it runs from you. Not because you're not good enough, not because you're unlucky, but because forcing creates resistance, and resistance blocks everything. There are 7 principles in this video. Each one is going to dismantle something you were taught to believe about how success actually works. And by the time we get to the last one, you'll never approach a goal, a relationship, or a hard moment the same way again. Let's get into it. 1. The outcome trap. Why wanting it too much is killing your chances. I want you to think about the thing you want most right now. The goal, the person, the version of your life you keep imagining. Now honestly ask yourself, how much of your mental energy does it consume every single day? If the answer is a lot, I want you to really hear this next part. Epictetus, one of the most powerful Stoic minds in history, said something that should stop you cold. We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. In other words, it's not the goal that's hurting you, it's the grip. Here's what the outcome trap looks like in real life. You apply for the dream job, and then you refresh your email every 20 minutes. You meet someone incredible and immediately start overanalyzing every text. You launch a project and obsessively check the numbers before the work even has time to breathe. That obsession doesn't make things happen faster. It makes you worse at the very thing you're trying to do. Think about an athlete preparing for the biggest competition of their life. The ones who choke under pressure aren't the ones who worked less. They're the ones who attached their entire identity to a specific outcome. And when the moment came, the weight of needing it crushed them. The ones who win, they compete like they have nothing to lose, because mentally they've already let go of the result. That's not indifference, that's mastery. Here's what this looks like practically. Stop measuring your worth by the outcome. Start measuring it by the quality of your effort. Ask yourself every morning, did I show up fully today? Not, did it work out today? Because outcomes are on life's timeline. Your effort is on yours. And here's where it gets interesting, because once you stop obsessing over the outcome, something almost counterintuitive starts to happen. We'll come back to that, but first, 2. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. There is no middle ground. Let me paint you a picture. 2 people, same situation, same setback, same rejection. One of them spirals, spends 3 days replaying what went wrong, convincing themselves they're not built for this, that maybe they should just quit. The other one pauses, takes a breath, and asks, what is this teaching me? Same event, completely different lives 6 months later. That gap, that enormous gap in outcome, came entirely from what happened inside their head in the moments after failure. William James, the father of modern psychology, once said that the greatest weapon against stress is the ability to choose one thought over another. The Stoics called this the inner citadel, the idea that no matter what happens outside of you, war, loss, failure, humiliation, no one can touch what's happening inside your mind unless you let them. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. He dealt with war, betrayal, disease, death, and every single morning he sat down and trained his mind before he did anything else. Not because he was soft, because he understood that an untrained mind is a dangerous mind. Here's the brutal truth about most people's inner dialogue. It's running on autopilot, and that autopilot is mostly negative. Fear disguised as preparation, doubt disguised as realism, anxiety disguised as responsibility. You are not your thoughts, but if you never challenge them, you will live like you are. Start here. The next time a negative thought shows up, don't fight it, don't ignore it.
interrogate it. Ask, is this true? Is this useful? Or is this just fear talking? 9 times out of 10, it's fear. And fear has no business making your decisions. I want you to think about something for a second. When was the last time your mind was actually quiet? When was the last time you weren't problem solving, worrying, or rehearsing some future conversation in your head? Most people never experience that, and they wonder why they're exhausted. Your mind is a garden. What you plant is what grows. And right now, most people are planting weeds every single day and then wondering why their life feels overgrown. You have the power to change what you plant, starting today. 3. Amor Fati, the Stoic art of loving what you cannot control. Here's something that's going to frustrate some of you. You're not behind. I know it feels like you are. You look around and it seems like everyone else is further ahead, more successful, more sorted, more certain about where their life is going. But here's what you're not seeing. You're not seeing the years they spent in the dark before the breakthrough. You're not seeing the relationships that fell apart, the opportunities that failed, the nights they spent questioning everything. You're only seeing their highlight reel and comparing it to your behind the scenes. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly. Not a great career, not a great relationship, not a great version of yourself. Everything worth having has a season, and the season you're in right now, even if it feels stagnant, even if it feels like nothing is moving, it is preparing you." Think about bamboo. When you plant bamboo for the first 4 years, nothing visible happens. You water it, you nurture it, and from the outside, it looks like nothing is growing. But underground, the root system is spreading wider and deeper than you can imagine. Then, in the 5th year, bamboo grows up to 90 feet in 6 weeks. Did it grow in 6 weeks, or did it spend 4 years building the foundation to support that growth? That is your life right now. The work you're putting in that nobody sees, the skills you're building in silence, the patience you're practicing when everything in you wants to rush, that is your root system. And when your season comes, and it will, nothing will be able to stop it. But here's the part most people miss about timing, and this is where Principle 4 completely flips the script on everything you've been told about taking action. 4. Purpose versus desperation. The energy you move with changes everything. Can you feel the difference between these two people? Person 1 walks into a room needing something from it, needing validation, needing approval, needing this opportunity to work out because if it doesn't, they don't know what they'll do. Person 2 walks in bringing something to it, grounded, clear, already full. Same room, same opportunity, completely different energy.
And here's the thing. People feel that difference before a single word is spoken. Desperation has a frequency, and it repels exactly what it's chasing. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This is crucial because desperate action comes from fear, and fear-driven decisions almost always make things worse. You take the job you don't want because you're scared. You stay in the relationship that's wrong because you're terrified of being alone. You make frantic moves in your career because the silence feels unbearable. And then you look up a year later wondering how you got so far from where you wanted to be. Purposeful action is different. It's slower, more deliberate. It asks, is this aligned with who I actually am and where I actually want to go before moving? Think about a chess grandmaster versus a beginner. The beginner reacts. Every move is a response to fear. Protect this, guard that, panic. The grandmaster is calm. They're not reacting to the board, they're reading it, moves ahead, in control, not because they're controlling everything, but because they're controlling themselves. That is the energy that wins, not the frantic, scattered, anxious energy that most people are moving through life with. Here's your recalibration question. Before any significant decision, pause and ask yourself, am I making this move from fear or from intention? That one question, practiced consistently, will save you from years of wrong turns. The most attractive thing a person can be, in business, in relationships, in life, is someone who doesn't need anything from you. Someone who is so anchored in their own purpose that your approval is welcome but not required. Become that person. Everything else follows. 5. The control paradox. The tighter you grip, the more you lose. This might be the most counterintuitive thing in this entire video. The thing you've been working so hard to control is the exact thing your need to control is destroying. Think about the last time you tried to control a person, a partner, a parent, a colleague. Maybe you told yourself you just wanted things to work out. Maybe you convinced yourself it was for their own good. But what actually happened? They pulled away, became defensive. The more pressure you applied, the more resistance you got back. Because people, like most things in life, respond to pressure by pushing back. Epictetus taught what the Stoics called the dichotomy of control. The idea is simple but radical. There are things within your control and things outside of it. And the fastest way to destroy your peace is to treat outside things like inside ones. What is within your control? Your effort, your attitude, your response, your character. What is outside your control? Other people's choices, outcomes, timing, other people's opinions of you. Most people spend 80% of their mental energy on the second category and then wonder why they feel powerless. Here's the shift. Every morning, before you look at your phone, before the noise of the day begins, ask yourself, what is actually mine to control today? Write it down if you have to, and then only spend energy there. Watch what happens to your stress levels inside of 2 weeks. Seneca said, "Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant." You can be led willingly through life, open, adaptive, trusting, or you can be dragged through it, fighting, forcing, exhausted. Both paths arrive somewhere, but only one of them arrives with your peace intact. And this sets up something that fundamentally changed how I understand success. Principle 6, because once you stop trying to control everything, what you replace that energy with makes all the difference. 6, scarcity is a lie your mind tells you, and it's costing you everything. Look at how you talk to yourself when things aren't going well. There aren't enough opportunities for me. Everyone else seems to have it figured out. The market is too competitive. Good relationships don't exist anymore. Maybe I'm just not the kind of person things work out for. Sound familiar? That is scarcity thinking, and it is one of the most destructive mental programs a person can run. Because here's what scarcity thinking does. It makes you play small. It makes you hesitate when you should move. It makes you cling to what you have because you're convinced there isn't more coming. It makes you shrink. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." True abundance isn't about having everything, it's about needing less to feel whole. The person who operates from abundance doesn't panic when one opportunity falls through because they trust more are coming. They don't cling to one relationship out of desperation because they know their own worth. They don't play it safe with their work because they believe in their ability to create more. And that energy, that unshakable trust in the availability of good things is magnetic. Here's a practical reset. Every time your mind defaults to "there is not enough," stop and replace it with a question. Where is the opportunity I'm not seeing right now? Not a fake affirmation, a genuine question. Make your brain go looking. Because scarcity keeps your eyes on the floor, abundance keeps them on the horizon, and you will always move towards whatever you're looking at. The people who seem to effortlessly attract success, connection, and opportunity, they're not special. They haven't been handed more. They've simply trained themselves to see more, to expect more, to trust more. And that training starts with a decision. The decision to stop believing the lie that there is not enough for you. There is. There always has been. You just have to stop looking at the floor. 7. Aligned action. Do your part, then get out of the way. Here's the final piece, and this is where everything comes together. You've detached from the outcome. You've trained your mind. You've stopped fighting timing. You're moving with purpose, not desperation. You've released the need to control. You've shifted into abundance. Now you act. Not frantically, not desperately, not with white-knuckled determination. You act with everything you have, and then you trust. Seneca said, "Effort and patience will achieve more than force and anxiety." There's a farmer principle here. A farmer doesn't plant seeds and then dig them up every 3 days to check if they're growing. He prepares the soil, he plants with intention, he waters consistently, and then he trusts the process. He doesn't control the sun, he doesn't control the rain, he doesn't argue with the season. He does his part and he lets nature do hers. That is aligned action.
It's not passive, it's not lazy, it's not giving up. It's the most powerful form of confidence that exists, the kind that says, I have done everything within my power. I trust what comes next. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, do what you must and let what happens happen. 6 words, entire philosophy. Do what you must, show up, do the work, give it everything, be excellent, and then let what happens happen. Because here's the truth that this entire video has been building towards. You are not in control of outcomes. You never were, you never will be. And the moment you stop pretending otherwise, the moment you truly, genuinely release that need, you become unstoppable. Not because you've controlled everything, but because nothing outside of you has the power to stop you anymore. So, stop forcing your life into a shape it's not ready for yet. Stop exhausting yourself chasing things that aren't meant to come to you. Do the work, train your mind, move with purpose, trust the timing, release the grip, and watch how differently life responds to you. The Stoics didn't discover these principles in a comfortable room with nothing to lose. They discovered them in war, in exile, in slavery, in loss. They are battle-tested truths about how human beings can move through an unpredictable world with power and peace intact. And they work. Not sometime, every time. If this hits something in you, there's another video on your screen right now that goes even deeper into how to apply Stoic thinking to the real pressures of your daily life. Watch that next. And if you're not subscribed yet, do it now, because this is just the beginning. I'll see you in the next one.